Hello and welcome to this week's Accountancy Age Big Question webcast. On this week's show, the recession and tax avoidance. Is it making things worse? With me to discuss the issue is Barry M.Spencer-Higgins from
the SCF Group.
SCF Group, we're a tax planning firm.
We're a licensed tax planning firm.
Barry, tell me quite quickly, we've heard that the recession is encouraging people to seek more tax avoidance schemes on an individual basis. Is that your experience so far of the downturn?
I wouldn't say so. I would say that for the domestic, the domestic market, probably it's been the opposite. If the people who are domiciled here, they've heard a lot of negative publicity. They've heard comments by Gordon Brown, President Obama. They've heard comments about offshore, and obviously the recession means there's less business out there. So in that sector, no, it's gone down. However, for individuals who are non-domiciled and resident in the UK, the recession combined with the comments and actions of the last budget by Alistair Darling have resulted in a situation that they do need our advice. We're finding they're coming to us en masse, that we are relocating some of these individuals to countries like Switzerland, not so much places like Monaco. They do need double taxation treaty protection. The Republic of Ireland is also very popular for these kind of individuals as well.
And what's the trigger in the recession for them? What's the actual factor in the recession that's making them seek this advice?
Well, even the very, very wealthy individual has suffered tremendously in this recession. A lot of them are asset rich, and those assets are worth a lot less, or they have income from abroad, and they're now subject to potentially higher taxation in the UK, particularly those non-domiciled, who, even if they've elected to pay the £30,000 duty each year, find that their UK investments are now taxable. And they're trying to seek ways of combating that and avoiding the £30,000 if possible. One possibility is using something like a private interest foundation, which has sort of High Court and House of Lords veracity to it. But a lot of them are totally fed up with the UK. And a lot of them actually do want to migrate. So whichever way they want to do it, firms like us are trying to jump in there and assist them. But I do think it was a home goal by Alistair Darling. But,
and do you detect an appetite for riskier planning as well?
No, actually, I'll tell you what's happened. Because of the publicity that's occurring now, people are getting very, very cautious. The riskier type planning that people would have done about 10 years ago or something like that, which we never have advised, but they nevertheless did it, has gone down a lot. People are petrified. It's only when we're talking about using double taxation treaties, traditional tax planning, that our market is getting more solid. But the key thing is the business sector. The business sector is coming to us. We've all heard about the WPPs, the Shire Pharmaceuticals, et cetera, abandoning ship and going over to foreign countries. What people aren't realizing is that the sector that we're dealing with, which is the medium-sized businesses, those businesses, let's say, with turnovers of 5 to 10 million, are coming to firms like us and saying, we cannot afford to be in the United Kingdom now if we are going to survive. What can you do about it? And basically what we do, we look at their structure, we see if we can get key parts of their structure in other jurisdictions, not tax havens, but literally in jurisdictions like the Republic of Ireland, potentially like Cyprus, all EU members, to mitigate their taxation in the long term, potentially allowing them to come back to Britain. If we don't help them, a lot of those companies will go under. This
is not a sector that's usually used to placing part of its structure overseas, is it? So this is brand new to them.
This is, yes, it's brand new to them. This is much more the multinationals. Traditionally, it would be the multinational corporations, and they would be turning around and saying, we'll set up a subsidiary here, we'll have our IP held there, we'll issue master licenses, sub-licenses to mitigate our overall tax exposure. No, you're right. The medium-sized British businesses, but with some international aspects, are new to this game, and they are really being attracted to it because it literally can be in a recession, or perhaps even technically now a depression, the difference between survival or non-survival.
And what do you think the finance bill will hold for these corporates? Do you think there's some optimism out there for them, or do you think they'll end up in the same position after the budget?
Well, the budget the last time, I think, was a massive home goal for Britain. I think we put ourselves in a situation that the non-domicile community were effectively, even if they pay the £30,000 tax, made their UK assets taxable. That was a tremendous home goal. I don't think the Chancellor will touch that again because it got a lot of bad publicity. I do hope in this budget they do something a little bit logical and they try and give incentives to the entrepreneurial sector. What is being forgotten is that the business community did not create this recession. The banking community created this recession. And the government has to bite the bullet and has to basically say we have to help the entrepreneurs who created the wealth in the first place to grow. I would like the Chancellor to come along and say we are going to introduce a special low tax rate, do the opposite. We know they need more taxes, but we need more entrepreneurs to create more wealth in the long term. Do what countries like Ireland are doing, have an incentive for individuals to set up in business. Right now, this is not an attractive country to be in. If you compare the UK tax rates now to Germany, if you ask the average lawyer or accountant in this sector how the UK tax system works, they'll come up with a historic situation. We have low taxes here. That's why people from the continent come to the United Kingdom. If you actually look into it, that's not the empirical evidence as it now stands. German taxes are now roughly on par with those of the United Kingdom. And if you are in the financial sector, you work in the city, you say, okay, if I work in London, I've got sterling, or I can work in the Eurozone, which the rest of Europe works in. I've got a city which is cheaper than London to live in, and I don't have this potential £30,000 annual tax, which most of them will fall into, because a lot of them are foreign, American, so on and so forth, earning around $200,000, $300,000 a year.
Going back to the budget, we were talking about what the government might do. The government's currently in a regulatory frame of mind. It's very difficult for them to switch and get into an enterprise frame of mind to start encouraging business, isn't it? To get onto a little bit of politics.
That's the danger. That's the danger. Again, they have to remember the business community has not created this catastrophe we're in now. It is the banking community that created this catastrophe. By all means, the banking community has to be regulated. Fully back that. But the business community, historically, if you over-regulate, if you look at certain southern European countries, you'll notice that they are highly regulated and have virtually no entrepreneurial incentives at all. I don't think that's what Britain wants to do. Britain wants to try and do the opposite, encourage the entrepreneurial sector. I don't know whether that's what the budget is going to say, that more than anyone else would, but I would hope that would be their tack.
Okay, well, no doubt businesses up and down the country will be crossing their fingers for their budget next month. Barry Spencer-Higgins, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And that's all from this week's Accountancy Age Big Question webcast. We'll be back at the same time and in the same place next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.